Hi, everyone. My name is F.A. Bugo, Product Marketing Manager for Copilot Control System, and welcome back for our next session as part of the Copilot Control System Digital Deep Dive. Today, in this session, we're going to provide practical guidance for AI and collaboration adoption. Adoption is where strategy meets reality, and we'll be talking about practical tools and proven practices for driving adoption of AI experiences across your organization. You're going to hear about how employees and engagement programs and how they work in real life, grounded in the Microsoft 365 implementation framework and inspired by global customer success stories. This session is going to help you connect the dots between delivering business value and advancing your own career. I'm extremely excited to welcome Karuana Gatimu, the leader of the Microsoft 365 implementation framework and author of the user enablement courses on Microsoft Learn. Karuana, who's actually coming to us live from an RV in Nevada, brings a global perspective on what it truly means to drive adoption and engagement in the AI era. Over to you, Karuana.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this Copilot Control System extravaganza. We have been here giving you all of the information that you need to make sure that you're managing your Microsoft 365 tenant and identity and data in safe and secure ways so that you can be confident to move forward with AI in your environment. I'm here to talk to you today about the variable in the success factors of an AI implementation, and that is the people. The people are actually the most important part of this transformation that we're going on right now. We have incredibly talented workforces, and we need to make sure they get the most from using AI services in the organization, not only for your particular company or firm, but also for them. Right? We want to make sure that people succeed in the era of AI and that we are really creating people who can lead the frontier firm. So I'm going to hop in today and talk to you about the human change element of driving AI readiness and the Copilot control system, because we have so many tools and things that are ready for you. So let's take a look. The journey to becoming AI powered comes in three distinct sections. We've talked a little bit about leadership. Now we're going to talk about human change. My colleagues have been talking to you about technical readiness, but all three of these pillars work together. Now, as we focus on human change, it's important to note that, user enablement programs, champion programs, the tools and the training that goes along with this implementation is absolutely critical to your success. We've seen this in countless organizations around the world. Those who invest in robust user enablement programs for continuous learning just have more success with their AI readiness. So we are ready for you to get started with this with all of the resources that we have on adoption.microsoft.com. I really want to give a shout out to everyone who's leaned in to publish content there and best practices. These slides that you're seeing today are available in our Copilot Success Kit, as well as much more robust information. I'm going to give you the key highlights today, but there's even more documentation in our Copilot Success Kit. You can also take our class. MS 4007 is the course that will make sure that you get your badge in driving user enablement for Microsoft 365 Copilot. So we want to make sure that you feel ready to do this work, and we're doing everything we can to make sure that you don't start from scratch. One of the key differences in doing this implementation is that the scenarios and the role of the people involved really, really matters. Making sure that you're selecting cohorts of people who have similar jobs or who work together regularly to onboard them in phases is a much different approach that we've had in the past by doing kind of broad spectrum pilots. To make sure that you're getting the most value, we've also deployed the Copilot Scenario Library. This has tools and resources by functional area and industry to allow you to focus on areas of improvement in your business and also to make you curious. to bring out your creativity. Your organization is not like everybody else's, even if you're in a similar industry with other people. So you're going to need to think about your business differently. I believe that this is the leadership skill that many people need to build a muscle in. Being able to look at the business and understand where AI implementations can be most useful and drive the most value for the business, for the workforce, for your customers and partners, and to set it up as a competitive differentiation for the future. So use the scenario library not only to get your own inspiration, but walk through it with your business leaders so they can see the types of projects, the types of agents, and other things that can be done in the variety of scenarios that exist. It's a wonderful tool. We're constantly updating it and bringing new information and new examples to you so that you can make sure to focus your AI implementation on the areas that matter most. Now, my other colleagues may have shown you this slide already, but I want you to show it again. A Copilot implementation is a shared activity. This again comes directly from field observations. As a global enablement specialist, I get the opportunity to watch people do this sort of work all around the world. And having been at the beginning of Copilot, I can tell you that our very first firms who leaned in to the shared accountabilities between the technical teams and the user enablement teams were, again, the most successful. That doesn't mean that they didn't have hiccups along the road, but they were able to communicate quickly, change direction, share process improvements, make sure that their workers are really getting the value that we promise with these tools. So make sure that you have that built into your environment, that you are working with the technical teams and that the technical teams are working with you if you are a user enablement specialist. Driving the human change work stream is about more than just the technology and making sure people use it. We believe that this is the embodiment of the people first strategy. By putting people at the center of your business process improvement, you will automatically gain more value than if you're thinking it from a strictly tactical perspective. We've been talking about that for a long time. Shout out to Rishi and the team who put together the modern collaboration architecture, the MoCA framework. This MoCA framework gives you step-by-step guidance on exactly how to put people at the center of all your process improvement, not just for AI and Copilot, but for Teams and SharePoint and other tools that you may have in your organization. It gives you that step-by-step guidance. Now, if you're a professional user enablement specialist, this is going to be right up your alley. If you're new to this, it may seem a little bit complicated, but here's the key takeaway. Talk to your users. Surveys are wonderful. We have plenty of tools to do that, but talk to the people in your organization, your business users. They will tell you where they need assistance. They will tell you about repetitive processes that can be improved. Nobody knows the job better than the person doing the job. So make sure that you're really engaging with people as you go through this process and increasing your institutional knowledge of what's happening in your organization. So as you think about setting up this user enablement work stream, there are core elements for success. Now, if you've been in user enablement for a while, some of these steps you will recognize. So throughout the user enablement guide that's part of the Copilot Success Kit, we have broken it down between essential tasks that are new for the era of AI and foundational tasks that we always needed to do when we were doing a rollout of any kind, whether it is Teams or anything else you might be driving in your organization. And so one of the things you're going to have to do is look inward. You're going to have to assess your ability to already do this. Do you already have a community where people can come and ask questions of each other? Another differentiator in user enablement that we've observed time and time again is when peers can help each other. Peer-driven learning from each other, especially in short form or task-oriented ways, is incredibly effective. And so, but all of these things need you to have a sponsor. Who is the AI enablement sponsor or the leader in your organization who's really driving this forward and driving the messaging from a top-down skill that many people need to put it down because it continues to be incredibly effective. And so, but all of these things need you to have a sponsor. Who is the AI enablement sponsor or the leader in your organization who's really driving this forward and driving the messaging from a top-down perspective, right? You want to accelerate that business impact by leveraging those scenarios I mentioned. And then, of course, you want to define your path in a secure way. You want to have your own version of our responsible AI principles and policies that you can share. I highly recommend that you use a SharePoint site to consolidate all of this information in your own training policies and materials so that people can easily find it and you can pin it right in that community. Now, I have to tell you that it took a lot of people to put an AI implementation onto one slide, and this is it. In this session, we are obviously highlighting the user enablement portion, but you'll notice that it is paired directly with the work stream for technical readiness in our four the implementation framework pillars: getting ready, onboarding and engaging, delivering impact, and extending and optimizing. These four pillars apply to almost every Microsoft 365 framework and service that you might want to implement. So this slide really gives you the essential steps, the things that you must do. Now, of course, if you're a smaller organization, it's fine to simplify this list. Maybe you don't have multiple divisions in multiple countries. Obviously, Microsoft has to write these things for the largest of corporations, but we do have SMB content that's specifically for smaller organizations if you're in that space. But this is one of those, what we call money slides. It's one of those slides that you really need to study and understand the elements of it, and then decide what's important for you. Once again, we have resources that are available to support this continuous learning and optimization. Learning AI is an iterative process, right? Even myself, I got good at having it help me find information, synthesize long emails, manage my calendar. Now I'm thinking about the agents that can help my team. Well, that's also something to think about, is the line managers in your organization are leaders as well in this transformation. And they're going to be thinking about key ways that AI and these new capabilities can help their individual teams. You want to keep those people on that continuous learning journey by always engaging with them. And that is why you have to be honest with yourself about the user enablement capabilities you have. Maybe you haven't built this muscle very intensely in your organization in the past. Now is the time. Now is the time. Find those people in your organization who are motivated by helping others. Those are champions. People who love to play with new tech, those are early adopters. Like, know the difference between those people. Make sure that you have those folks who can help other business users in their particular department, because again, that peer-to-peer learning is more powerful than anything else we can do. You also want to leverage the in-product guidance that we have. Copilot has its learning skills and tools built right into it. And of course, you can always ask Copilot. And so making sure that people are aware of how to do that and get over their initial anxiety. It's really important that you understand the anxiety that people have when they're learning these new skills, and with AI more than anything. Making sure that they feel confident to use this as an extension of their talent and expertise. It doesn't replace their talent or expertise. It empowers their talent and expertise. And that is a core message that is very important for you to land with your workforce. And you can do that by making sure you have a vibrant community of practice. Again, I'm so proud of the team for building in to Viva Engage, the community template that you can use for all of this work if you don't already have one. So, and also it's worth it to maybe have a fresh start. But remember, the power of a community is the people that are in it. So make sure that you know the champions who are going to contribute to that community to keep it vibrant, to post new content. There's such great things that you can do, engaging things, and we've got content for that too. You know I was going to say that, right? All right, now accelerating your AI workforce transformation. As I mentioned, it's the Copilot community. It's using analytics to understand the behavior that's actually being driven, and then using the Copilot Academy to support that continuous learning. All three of these things are available to you. You can use them and then augment them with your own, as I mentioned, process guides or scenario guides. That's why you need that SharePoint site to house all that information, and you can make that visible. You can even build an agent on your SharePoint site so that people can interact with it with that natural language interface. The natural language interface is one of the most transformative things about Copilot technology and generative AI in general. We will be moving more and more away from typing on the keyboard and instead just talking to this interface and allowing it to extend our creativity and our expertise in ways that are even more productive. Now, let's take a look here at this particular slide that is starting the getting ready phase. All right. Now, as I mentioned before, we have foundational tasks, tasks that if you've done user enablement in the past, you'll recognize, and then Copilot specific tasks, right? And so it's important for you to differentiate between the two because there's new information that you need to be up to date on as you're thinking about the strategy of driving adoption. Use Copilot specific tactics, like really understanding how it works. Now, what's good about doing this work now is that everyone who has a subscription to Microsoft 365 has the Copilot Chat experience. That is the included experience that comes with your subscription. You can start to get ready for what it's like to work in Microsoft 365 Copilot, which is the licensed experience. And we have segmented our adoption content on our Adoption Hub between those two experiences so that you have all the tools that you need. So there's a continuous journey from learning how to use the free version, getting comfortable with doing certain basic prompts and using certain out-of-the-box agents that everyone has access to through that included experience, and then moving on and having Microsoft 365 Copilot be able to leverage all of your information across the Microsoft 365 tenant that you have access to be able to understand that experience. So understanding the difference between those two particular experiences, those licensed, the free included version and the licensed seat version, is an important part of being ready to do this user enablement. Making sure you have those responsible AI principles down and more. So you can take a look at this work. And as I mentioned, these slides today are part of the Copilot Success Kit. You can download the full deck. We'll make sure you have a link to it. And of course, you can ask any questions in the AMA that is coming up. As we mentioned before, the ABCs of executive sponsorship, this is a tried and true methodology from the original days of doing tactical user enablement. This is a little bit different than maybe the ProSign method or other methods that are a little bit more theoretical. In the Microsoft 365 implementation framework, we really focus on what you actually have to do. It is an action-oriented piece. And so understanding, making sure that you have that sponsor that's active, that's building coalition, and that's communicating on a regular basis, even if you have to support them in doing that, is going to be critical to your success. I can't say it enough. I really can't. Shared planning with the technical team. You cannot operate in this kind of an implementation as two different parts of an organization. The left and the right hands need to be conducting this transformation together. So make sure that you have a rhythm of business for that. Do you have a weekly project meeting? Is there a monthly readout to your sponsors and leaders? How are you architecting the business? And this might be different for you. Maybe you haven't done this in the past, worked closely with the technical team. I find often in organizations that the user enablement people are sometimes a part of IT, but sometimes they're also a part of HR, or they might be in a training unit or in the communications area, because most of us who are user enablement specialists have some background in marketing or communications or psychology that helps us to simplify and communicate ideas. Wherever you happen to be sitting in the organization, make sure you're close to the people who are administering this experience and managing Microsoft 365. Another thing that needs to be thought about, and this is a leadership component that I wanted to bring into user enablement, which is about having an AI council. It's important that the business that you work for have a strategy for implementing AI in meaningful ways. Those are the people, the business leaders who should be looking at that scenario library and helping you to prioritize the skills and scenarios that are going to change. That AI council may also include members of security, members of HR, members of executive leadership or your C-suite. I wrote an article on how to create that AI council. Please go check it out at our Leading in the Era of AI page. You'll find a lot of resources to help leaders be able to make this transformation. And when I say leaders, I mean the folks that are outside of that C-suite, who may be functional business leaders, you may be managers, maybe you're in a smaller organization and you're everything, but you want to be thinking about how to set up that AI council to get the most from this work. And of course, the AI Council also governs. They set up the responsible AI standard in your own organization. Once again, you can take Microsoft's responsible AI principles and leverage those, but you should augment them for your particular business. So you want to take a look at that. The responsible AI standard, make sure that your organization is thinking this through end to end, but don't allow yourself to have analysis paralysis. The most important thing you can do is start using AI so you truly understand it. It is an experiential thing. You have to put your hands on the keyboard or talk to it and have it answer you so that you can really understand how transformative it is. We've seen this in feedback from leaders, again, around the world in the research that we've done. And the more people and leadership uses AI, the more they understand its competitive differentiation and how to leverage it in their business. So you want to get it in the hands of those folks with these principles as soon as possible. When you think about onboarding and engaging, again, there's a foundational task, having a defined campaign, having a plan, making sure that you're using the training materials that Microsoft provides. But we've got more. Microsoft Viva for Copilot Enablement is a fantastic tool. Viva Engage and the insights that you're able to get will really put the information in your hands to make sure that you're doing a good job of engaging people. But nothing will replace actually having a user experience strategy. What do you want the experience of your people in your organization to be? Are you prioritizing seamless collaboration with external partners? Are you prioritizing fast response times to things like service requests and RFPs? What is your user experience strategy? Again, I've written a template for you. This is a template I wrote a long time ago, and I have updated it for the era of AI along with the rest of the team. And you can download this template and at least let it stir your curiosity about how you should be thinking about the user experience as an asset in your organization. We see it in the research every day. There is a competition for talent out there in the workforce, and people are looking at things like collaborative tools, use of AI, dedication to user experience and employee morale to make their decisions about where they want to work. So be at the front of this, right? As you create your own frontier firm, make sure that employee health and wellness and your experience strategy is front and center of your people first methodology. And that will also help you in retaining the talent you have, but also gaining more talent in the marketplace as skills become more and more competitive. A good way to do that is really understanding the user journey. People go through an emotional journey when it comes to onboarding to any new experience, right? And it is a journey. User journey mapping is an established skill around the world, and we are applying it here to the experience of onboarding to this technology. Because the first thing you have to do is land, why should they care? Why do they need to care about AI? They hear the hype, but that's not what's in it for them, what we call the WIFM. Or as a colleague of mine used to say, WIIFM, what's in it for me? Love that. He did such a good job at that presentation. I'm always stealing his stuff. But what I wanted you to make sure you understand is that people are coming to this differently. They're coming to learning AI with anxiety. More anxiety than is typical in learning something new because they are worried about every science fiction movie they've ever seen. And they're also worried about their jobs. They've heard a lot of negativity in the news, and they want to understand, how is AI going to benefit them, and is it really a threat? So you have to land with them how they're going to use it. And if you're lucky and that person is a line or team leader, they'll start thinking about how will we use it, much like I mentioned earlier about the agents I'm thinking of building for my team. When can they use it comes after that. And how does it change their experience? These are all things that may be unarticulated moments in the process that they're going through. But you have to be cognizant of where are these teams as they go through this journey. And if they have a problem, can they get help and resolve their issues quickly? This journey mapping is based on the feel, think, act model that has been around from a psychological perspective for a long time. People are going to think a particular thing, they're going to have emotions about that, and then they're going to take actions. We have a tendency to rule out the emotional part of that. That's why humor and engagement and warmth and true empathy is so important in these technology implementations, and never more important than in the era of AI. You can't replace human authenticity or actual focus on the success of users. Now, again, we're talking about the keys to enablement success here, and this comes directly from our research. Having a vision, having a clear goal for the implementation of AI that speaks to that particular user audience. Right. When I go and talk to sales folks about using AI, I'm using their specific language. I'm talking about their scenarios, things that they relate to in the improvements, and I give them an opportunity to provide feedback. Right. In a perfect world, I get to listen to them first and then I go and talk. Right. Many of you see me present on a regular basis, but when I work with customers, I try to listen a lot more than I talk. And that's an important skill, especially in this. Making sure that you have, proactive support from key leaders, having that user enablement and champions community, and making sure that you are raising awareness on a regular basis, not only with the launch event, but omni-channel communications planning. And again, we have a lot of tools for that you can use. Building that community of practice with Viva Engage and all of the capabilities that are built into that now. Of course, more AI is being infused in Viva Engage that can help you manage that campaign is essential, but so is identifying your user cohorts, making sure that you are onboarding people who have either similar roles or work very closely together. Do not just sprinkle your paid licenses out across the organization and think you're going to get success or valuable feedback. You will not. We have seen this time and time again. Concentrate those licenses as you're onboarding people in these appropriate areas so that you get valuable feedback that will allow you then to create and extend your champion program in those specific areas. Somebody will rise up who wants to be helpful in this transition, who wants to learn more and help others. Those are your champions, and you can find our step-by-step guide for this online. Also, of course, building that sustainable champions community allows you to get direct feedback, because people will say things to a champion that they won't say to you necessarily, and that they certainly won't say to their managers or leadership. So if you really want to understand what's happening in your organization, the champions are a fantastic way to do that. So that they will you'll have that insight into what's going on with users. We have the steps here that are available to you in creating that champions community, and of course, a program checklist. And if all of this is overwhelming and you've never had a champions community in your organization, then you're in luck. You can join ours. Many champions program leaders are in our Microsoft 365 Champions program. We have a call every month. We go over new features. We go over best practices. You can ask questions of the other people who are there, not just Microsoft, but other champion leaders. And it's a fantastic place to be. So make sure that you sign up for this if you're doing user enablement in any form, because it's just a great place to get practical guidance as you keep moving through all of the processes. Your core objective is to build daily AI habits and employee satisfaction. That is the objective. So you have to have a cycle of communicating with people to continue to drive awareness, to drive engagement, to make sure you're measuring the work that is happening in the organization, and then manage this appropriately. It's very important that you not fall into the trap of, well, I sent an email. That's not a communications campaign. Email is not a communications campaign. It's one part of it, but you need to be really hitting people where they live. And yes, you're going to feel as if you're repeating yourself, but people weren't listening to you the first time. They never do, right? You have to keep talking about the various components and the various scenarios over and over again so that they can soak in the information. They have lots of things to do. So we recommend that you have some themes. These themes for success have proven effective in implementations that we've seen, and they're more simplified for business users so that they can really have this connect to what's in it for them. Change needs makers. We're going through a huge change, and this is going to speak to people who potentially want to build agents, who want to actually be champion leaders, or use AI as a way to differentiate themselves and drive success in their own career. But it all leads up to moments that matter, right? This is the human change. This is the actual results that you get from implementing AI in your organization. I can't tell you how many fantastic stories of accelerations in healthcare, in cancer research, in sustainability projects, in so many things. And you can find so many of those examples throughout our blogosphere. But there's going to be moments that matter in your organization, and you want to capture those and share them across your user community. And then at the end of the day, it's really about getting stuff done, right? Sometimes people just don't care about the names of all these fancy features. They don't care at all. They have a job. They want to get it done. They want to do it well, and then they want to go home to their families. And we support that. And so we have the Getting Stuff Done campaign. Now, this is a campaign that you can participate in, but also take the idea of and do in your own organization, right? You can visit aka.ms Team GSD, and you can see the playlist that we've created of small tasks that people need to do to actually get stuff done every day. We also encourage people to make their own videos and then submit them. And that allows people to be seen, right? People want recognition and they want to be seen. So come and join us in Team GSD so that you can have those things be part of the official Microsoft playlist. This is all about laying the foundation for continuous learning and progression in AI skills. Right? This is a month over month, day over day, new habit building activity that we want to be fun. We want to be enjoyable. And we want to make sure that people are getting the most value from the investment that they make in Microsoft services. And so as you dive into this, you're definitely landing that individual value first, and then that departmental value with those scenarios, with those line managers, with those functional area leaders, and then organizational value as a whole. And again, small, medium, or large, it doesn't matter. You get to participate in this in a way that is meaningful to you, creates those moments that matter, but also helps you get things done on a daily basis. I've never been a part of a company that invested so much money in skilling experiences. We have so much content that is available across Microsoft 365, but specific to Copilot right now. And these experiences are more and more built into the product, so you can find them in the flow of your work, which we find to be very important. So make sure that you're really aware of what exists, both on adoption.microsoft.com and in product, so you don't have to start from scratch. That doesn't mean you aren't going to want to create maybe your own walking deck or training guidance for the way that your organization is using AI, but you can certainly use our slides as a starting point. And when it comes to building day-to-day skills, that capability are already in the product itself. You're going to have access to all of this. Of course, you'll bookmark all of these locations. One thing about this is new information is constantly being published. We are always updating our Copilot Success Kit. And that includes the technical readiness, all of the user enablement guides, being able to measure your impact and then extend it through Copilot Studio and building agents, which is so important to our agentic future and the agentic web that we're all building together. So stay close with us, right? Stay here in the Microsoft Tech community. Join us for these various and sundry events. Make sure you're leaning into the Microsoft 365 Champions program. Those touch points will make sure that you're up to date on new features and things that are coming to you, and especially things like when researcher and analyst were launched, getting that direct feedback, those capabilities to do deeper research and analyze data as a part of your Microsoft 365 Copilot license is fantastic and just does so much good work. I've used it myself for the work that I do here inside Microsoft. And so we're all learning together, and having these resources is really important. The Copilot dashboard also allows you to be able to see the actual adoption rates and impact that you're getting from the work that's happening. I love this data. You know, people love charts and graphs. It's important. But again, I'm going to say it one last time. Nothing replaces going and talking to your business users and their managers about how it's going, how it's really going. As a user enablement specialist, you are an advocate. That's why my team is called Customer Advocacy. You're an advocate for the community of people in your organization who are trying to use this. And so you need to really connect with them in an authentic and real way. So yes, send out surveys. If you're in a very large organization, obviously you can't talk to everyone, but you can make an effort to have one-on-one conversations, small group conversations, bring people together in your own internal user group to talk with folks. So just build those relationships. It is the relationships that are so important and help you define your success in this area. Here's the most important thing. Together, we have an exciting future ahead, but it's important that you make it yours. This time is about you. Whether you are a technical person listening to this presentation or you're a historical user enablement specialist, the operational advantages that your organization can get from AI also extend to you and your career. So let's make sure you're leaning in, make sure you're thinking about how you're going to advance your own career with this work. How is AI going to help you be more creative and more impactful? The most important thing is that we land with all of our user communities that AI is here to amplify our expertise and to allow us for time to have more creativity. This is such an important thing. AI anxiety is a real thing. We need to counter that with the empathetic way that we drive these user enablement motions. And so I'm really excited for you to stay close with us in the Microsoft 365 Champions program, in our Microsoft 365 Copilot community, at events like this, and other events that we can see you at around the globe. This is a fantastic time to be in technology and an even better time to be doing user enablement. We're excited about helping you get the most from all of this. So I believe FA now is going to guide us into the live AMA, and I'm going to answer some questions. Thank you. Thank you for listening, and let's go to the live AMA.
Awesome. Incredible. Thank you for those themes for success. Change needs makers. Find those moments that matter, and ultimately getting stuff done. Really, really appreciate your time and your presentation on that, Karuana. So
Thank
we
you
are,
so much.
of course, of course. So
Yeah.
we're going to transition into the AMA portion of this presentation, and let's get right into the questions that have been coming in. The first one, my leaders don't understand user enablement or adoption. How can I get them to understand the importance of this?
This is a very common question. Hello, everyone. Thanks for listening to my presentation, coming to you from here in Nevada. Really excited to be with everyone. You know, the most important way is to understand the language of your leaders. When I'm speaking to sales leaders or I'm speaking to technical leaders, I'm talking to them about issues that they care about. So there's no replacement for understanding what keeps your leaders at night and aligning your efforts to make sure you're having an impact to reduce that stress or pressure and deliver that value. So when I'm talking to IT leaders, I'm talking about making sure that you are the champions actually reduces the strain on a help desk. Most organizations have too busy of a help desk, too many tickets to manage, especially in the smaller organizations. So having champions be able to actually guide users and get more value out of the investment is important. I'm talking to an overall CEO or sales leader, I'm talking about how the workforce being more skilled enables you to be competitively faster and deliver more revenue. So, aligning the work that we do in user enablement to the values and goals of the leaders you're speaking to is the number one way sure that they understand why this work is important. And, if they have any questions, you can point them to all the Microsoft resources and research that shows what a huge differentiator this is between organizations who do this work and organizations who do not. We have plenty of research on that as well.
Awesome. Thank you. I can attest to that. There's no lack of resources from the Microsoft team. Second question. Second question we have here is how can we ensure that our champions program remains both sustainable and impactful beyond that initial rollout phase?
Yeah, the true impact of a champions program actually happens well beyond rollout. In those initial 90 days, you have a kind of a flurry of activity. But making sure you have a standardized rhythm of business with monthly meetings for people to come to, even if it's only a few people, is an important thing to do. And also planning out themes that are relevant to the business users that you are onboarding to the technology, helping them with particular items. Again, I tend to use sales as an example because it's such a great place to get value, but it could be your HR or your marketing department. They have core tasks they need to get done. Is the technology helping them to get stuff done? And what examples of getting stuff done could you show to those people in those groups? Going back also to what I mentioned in that people don't listen the first time around, it's never wrong to go back over the level 100 items of people how to navigate the left rail of the Copilot experience, how to find agents, how to go to the store. These are things that until people build a muscle memory, they just don't remember. And they don't feel comfortable always asking those sorts of basic questions again. So I always like to review those. But your champions are going to be the heart of it. So making sure that you have a regular meeting for the business users, but also a meeting for the champions themselves to make sure that they're ahead on and dealing with issues that are coming up. That is why champion leadership is so important. And we talk a lot about that in our Microsoft 365 Champions program, helping leaders keep that champion program sustainable and fresh. But good rhythm of business, ongoing themes, always covering 101. And if you're in a location together, never underestimate the power of food. When I ran the first user group for Microsoft, when I came inside Microsoft, we always brought food and it brought people to the meetings because they had a good time and they got to socialize and see each other. You know, we are social creatures and we need that connectivity. So make sure that your meetings are fun and people feel like they're welcome. They will remember that.
Thank you, Caruana. Food is one of my greatest motivators. uh,
Cupcakes are a powerful thing. Cupcakes are very powerful. So is pizza. Depends on your region and your particular cuisine, but I always encourage people to not forget the social component of what we're doing because, people remember that way more than how I told them to open the agent store, right?
right, right. Next question we have is, what's the best way to align our user experience strategy with technical readiness milestones to ensure a smooth Copilot deployment?
The best way is to use our project plan. In the main Copilot Success Kit, there is a milestone slide. I didn't show it in this presentation, but it exists in the kit that shows how those two things should. You're creating that shared team first. You're discussing the strategy, both for responsible AI and the user experience. You're selecting together that set of the cohort of users that you are going to enable with your first licenses, or if you bought a lot of how you're going to roll them out so that people are onboarding and getting value. But there is definitely a plan for that, and you can find that in the Copilot Success Kit. Don't forget that at the end of each month, you should be doing a shared service health review with your IT partners and with leadership to discuss how it's going. You can use the Copilot dashboard data there, but also information you've gotten from the champions directly to understand what people are feeling about the rollout. We tend to focus on the data points, as I always say, but it's important that you understand the sentiment of your workforce as you're doing this. Definitely take that slide that's in the overall guide, the overview for implementation, but also in both of the main decks. You will find that slide that aligns the work together.
Great. Thanks, Caruana. And speaking to different personas, how can we tailor Copilot training and communications to meet the different needs of individuals who might be executives or frontline workers or support staff?
That's an excellent question, because it's so important, especially if you're dealing with executives. They have a very different day than your average, frontline manager or business user or reception or something of that nature. And so you can take the content that we have in the Copilot Academy and available through our websites, and you can tailor it to your people. There's also a fantastic army of influencers and MVPs, most valuable professionals, who've also created Copilot training that's available out there on the web. I will say that there is probably no replacement for really knowing those in your particular organization and tailoring your messaging appropriately. If I was still training people inside Microsoft, I would probably be tailoring at least the beginning and ends of all of those sessions myself based on the people that I knew. One thing I will say about executive onboarding also is make sure to talk to the executive assistants, the business managers, chiefs of staff. You want to really have those folks on your side. You want them to share with you those executives' days and what they're really looking for and the work that they're actually doing. Many people fail to do that. They go directly to the executive without talking to the support staff that surrounds them. And that is a tragic mistake. So make sure that you're talking to that support staff first throughout your organization, frankly, and then onboarding those executives. You can also get inspiration and some slideware from our Copilot scenario library. We've already broken down key scenarios by functional leader and by industry, and you can start with our content there. But you will probably still have some time tailoring that and also getting them to talk to each other. Again, that peer learning, executive to executive, is very powerful, or role to role, person to person. And people will start to share prompts and they'll start to share ways that they're using it. And it'll become part of the conversation in your organization, which is, again, one of your objectives.
Awesome. Thank you. And our final question we have here is, what role should IT play in supporting peer-to-peer learning and community engagement without becoming the default support channel?
That's fantastic. If you are an IT leader and you don't know who is in charge of user enablement in your organization, I suggest you find out really quickly. If that role hasn't been identified, if you don't have a champion leader, or if people are assuming it's you, it's time to start having conversation about the fact that this is a different skill set than IT management. I have done both roles at scale, and they are different skill sets. One leverages communication more, one leverages my technical acumen more, my ability to write PowerShell scripts or whatever. Um, and so you want to start to have that dialogue where you're separating those duties, because being a champion is not about being a help desk technician. Right? A help desk technician is resolving hardware or software difficulties caused by the system or by a failure from a perspective of the user. They're not focusing on listening to people and helping them to achieve more with the software that's at their disposal. So you want to separate these duties, and one of the good ways you can do it is by writing job descriptions. Part of that is in my user enablement strategy document, but that's why we publish those documents and encourage people to conversation so you can separate those roles. Now, if you're in a large organization, oftentimes the user enablement folks don't sit in IT. They sit in HR, or maybe they sit in a communications department. So again, sometimes people aren't talking to one another. I find that very frequently where the user enablement people are not talking to the IT people, they know each other. Once again, a little food will solve that problem. Have a lunch, have a coffee together, start to understand each other so you can form a partnership that will be the bedrock of this sort of enablement. And of course, I'm full of more ideas on that, which you can always find me out here on the Microsoft Tech community. We have a driving adoption forum that's out here that you can ask more questions. You can also ask questions in this chat. I know we're coming up on our time together, so I want to make sure that folks know how to stay engaged, because as you go through this process, there will be more questions you'll have as you grow in your role as a user enablement specialist.
Awesome. Thank you, Caruana. Really appreciate these insights. It's clear that the era of AI that we're in, it requires committed communal action to drive change and innovation. Before we close out, I just wanted to ask you, are there any final thoughts that you would like to leave with the team?
I think what I just like to say is, be diligent, be determined, don't get discouraged. This is a process, and helping people to understand the power and the necessity of user enablement work is, it's my life's work, and it might feel discouraging at times when people don't understand it. But something, we talk about it a lot here at Microsoft. The entirety of Microsoft.com and all of the work that my team does and many other people around our ecosystem is focused on this work. So don't get discouraged. It can feel and like an arduous task sometimes to get people to understand why this work is important, but also to really help people. You will have people in your organization who want to poo-poo this new technology or not on board to it. That's okay. Go to the friendlies first. Go to the people who are hungry for change, who want to do and learn something new, and gain your momentum in friendly places. Not every day needs to be excruciating. But if you're not having fun right now in what you're doing in this era of AI, really think about how this trend change, this massive sea change we're going through, is going to benefit you and your career. This really is your moment. We don't get many opportunities like this to really transform our careers. And this is definitely one of them, the biggest one that I've been a part of in my entire 30 years in this business. So I encourage you to think about yourself. Think about where you want to be in 6, 12, 18 months in your career, and let that sustain you through the difficult days that may come as you're doing this work. But there's never been a project I've been a part of that didn't have a few bumps in the road. It's how you respond to those bumps that actually matters. And so make sure that you have a tribe of people around you who can be supportive. And if you can't find any in your organization because you're out there by yourself and alone, then come join our Champions Club, because we are really here for one another. We understand what this journey is like, and we do have a lot of fun.
All right. Well said, Caruana. Thank you so much for carving out some time to join us today. And for those in the audience, we'll see you at the next session. Bye, y'all.